Good afternoon, everybody, or good time zone, I suppose. I am Barrett Laurie. Thank you for joining me. I am so excited for today's interview with my good friend, Margaret Pinard. Although I have to ask if I've been saying her last name wrong, which I totally should have done in this 45 minutes we've had backstage together, but I didn't do it, and now I'm going to do it live in front of all of you. But Shannon's been pronouncing her name differently than I have been, so we're going to square that away as our first question when we get her up here. But before that, we are going to quickly say hello to everyone in chat and let our folks that have notifications trickle in. Welcome, everyone. I see Devin, Richard Holiday, Adam Stevenson. Good to see you. Devin is saying, uh-oh, he's not fully live. I am fully live. I think he's missing the old name. We're doing good. Adam, Margaret, and I are a little nervous because we're singing for you all in a little bit. Surprise, surprise. There is a musical number in the middle of the show. So, and then a little announcement after the musical number. We're going to let you hear us sing before we announce what we're going to do. Hello, JC Carpenter. Good to see you, my friend. Anita, good to see you. You did such a wonderful job last night on Critique Group Live. I was so happy with your story. You did a great job, and I'm glad to see you here. Hello, Cool Gamer. Good to see you. Hello, Natalie. You're lurking in the right place, Natalie. We're singing soon, so you're in the right place for all the Margaret things. Hello, welcome. Good to see you. Richard Holiday. All right, we have Salem Rose. Good to see you as well. And with that, I think I've said hello to everybody. Let's get Margaret out here. So, Margaret is a soul from the 19th century who finds it easiest to disguise herself by drinking tea, writing historical fiction, and popping off to the British Isles for research. She has published 5 novels, including the Remnants trilogy, about a Scottish family immigrating to Canada in the 1820s. Margaret is also the proud founder and co-organizer of, oh boy, this name. Another thing I should have asked her backstage, Jola Bakaflod? PDX, we're going to ask her backstage, an Icelandic-themed book festival in Portland, Oregon. She is currently at work on a novel featuring a woman printer fighting her corner in Gilded Age Chicago. When not belting out show tunes, she can be found hanging out with Bean, her adorable kitty. Welcome, Margaret.
Oh, that was so lovely. Thank you.
Why did I not ask you how to pronounce your name before? And then the name of the event you organized. Let's do your name first. Who? Am I saying it wrong?
You were saying it right, and Shannon says it right sometimes. It's just I think she sometimes will stick in a pignon, like a little.
Yeah, there's like a fancy. Yeah, there was a fancy on it. I was like, oh, I'm not being French enough for this.
Pinard, like Captain Picard from the Enterprise, and that'll come in useful later.
Just okay.
Stay tuned.
And tell me this: how do I pronounce Jobla? Help me.
Yola. So
Yola.
It's like YOLO, but it's Yola. Yola Bokaflod.
Yola Bokaflod. Oh, I love that. Okay.
Like Yule book flood in a Nordic language. So Yola Bokaflod. Yule book flood.
Sweet. Yay. Welcome. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a big screen because I want you to tell everybody about yourself and what's going on your channel before we dive into all the questions. So give them the breakdown.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. I think I probably know most of you out there, so thank you so much for coming. We're going to dive into some little niches of the work that I'm doing at the moment. But I am Margaret Pinard. That is my YouTube channel. That is my main home. My vacation homes include Twitter and my website, margaretpinard.com, and a Patreon where I use for blogging, basically. And so I've got a book club, I've got a book mail, I've got fabulous friends there, some of whom are in the chat, which is great. And yeah, I love talking about BookTube and AuthorTube here on this medium with you all. And yeah, I think that's the announcement that Barrett's talking about for later. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll keep that hidden.
Yeah, the thing I asked you backstage. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Welcome. You have your tea. We're ready. So, tell us 3 things we can't tell by looking at you.
3 things you can't tell by looking at me. I once posed in a short film with Ronald McDonald. I have on the sly relatives in French Canada, and what's the third thing? I'm trying to be interesting. This is hard. What's the third thing? You can't tell by looking at me. I once broke my arm ice skating on a date.
Oh, that's terrible. Like, what a great story though for the date.
Yeah,
Like,
great story.
yeah,
Great story.
yeah. Richard, she's 18 feet tall. That was he gave you the third one. 18 feet
Thank
tall.
you.
So the tallest person in the world, I would imagine. Okay, so who are your biggest supporters in life and career?
My biggest supporters in life and career. So in life, I'm gonna go with my mom and my sister and some of my friends in DC. So I have moved around a bit, and I had about 6 years living in Washington, DC. That's where I went to grad school. And I find that among the different pools of people that I've worked with and studied with, that is the one that has cemented the most and been the most supportive across the miles, if you will. So yeah, that and my AmeriCorps friends, they're pretty solid too.
I didn't know you did AmeriCorps.
Yes.
Okay. See, we need to talk more off camera too. I didn't realize you lived in DC either.
Yes.
I don't know how I missed that. I lived there too for quite some time, so we should talk about that at some point.
I think we mentioned it, but it was like months ago, so we didn't get to follow.
We need to dive in again. It was expensive and it was not great. I need to get to this question because it was great. Need to know more about that first one. So tell us a little bit about this short film with Ronald McDonald. I was curious as well. Like, how did that happen?
Yes. So it came up recently, and I thought of it because I was walking through a big antique store kind of rummage sale place, and they had a life-size replica, you know, the one where he's sitting on the bench of Ronald McDonald. And it reminded me of the story when I went to theater camp in 7th grade, and we had like little small group assignments. And one of the things was there was 3 of us, and we had to do like a small film, and we had someone who's going to be the director and someone who's going to be like the cameraman and someone who's going to be the actress. And so I was the actress in the 3 of us, even though we were all theater kids. And so I ended up sitting on Ronald McDonald's lap, and I don't even remember the story that we told. That is just the salacious like kernel that has stayed with me. Inappropriate.
I mean, you know, there's something there. Okay, the next question someone asked in chat: how did the date turn out where you broke your arm? Like, did it turn into a love match for a little while, or?
He was very sweet. I think we hung out like once or twice more, and he, you know, like followed up and was nice. But no, we didn't
Did
go
he
out
sign your
anymore. No. No, I was working at a nonprofit, and I was actually due to be at a meeting where I was recording right after that. And so I had to like real quick learn how to do that with my left hand. So yeah, it was a busy time. It was fun.
Oh, that sounds like an adventure. Yeah. So you and I have had some great discussions about the world and some of our thoughts and feels politically, which we're not going to get into. But what I'm curious about is you have a big scope for things that you care about. If there was one thing in the world you could change, what would it be and why?
Well, I think I talked recently about a superpower. It would be to make lies visible. And I feel like if we could do that, that would solve a lot of the problems, especially like I feel like the most urgent problem we have right now is what we're doing to our environment and like killing the environment that houses us. And so all the people who are paying lip service to doing a thing and trying to live within our means, like make it very apparent, like make their head turn purple or something. But that's the power. That's not what I would do. What would I do? Show everyone what we need to do, and I don't know, have some sort of contract or easily signable agreement like Ursula, you know, to people to actually do what they say they're going to do.
Recycle.
Yeah, that's not it. Yeah. It's not it, babe.
That's not it?
No.
So what do you want them to do? What do you want them to sign away?
Plastics. That's a big one. And gasoline usage in general. Like just thinking about how you live and how you spend your energy calories, basically. We're obsessed a lot of the time with like calories we take in for food, but I would really love if people thought more about what they consume for energy and packaging and sending stuff from the Zon that must not be named, stuff like that.
So you're one of my favorite like booktubers, you're AuthorTube and BookTube. But one of my favorite things about you as a booktuber is I always find a book I have never heard of whenever I watch your breakdowns of books. So what book did you read in 2021 that you recommend to everyone, and why?
Ooh, 2021. Oh, I didn't. See, this is Storygraph.
I know.
I'm not going to
This
go
is where you
Storygraph.
say, I wish you'd have given me the questions in advance. And I say,
I know.
sorry.
This is not a spontaneous question. So the first one that comes to mind, it's sort of in my area, my niche, my bailiwick, if you will, is called The Women of the Copper Country by Doria Russell. And if anyone knows Karen Evans, who changed her channel name to Roving Reader, I think she was just reading it. It takes place, thank you, JC. It takes place in the Upper Peninsula, which is where some of my family has come from. And it's the 1912 labor strike of copper miners. And so it's like a piece of the country that you don't know much about. I didn't know much about. And a single story that, no one learns about because, labor strikes are a dime a dozen before the 60s or 70s. And it's just like the emotional drama and the what is the right thing to do for yourself and for the movement in that time period that was so compelling. So that's the one I recommend to historical fiction. Even if you don't like it, you should read that one.
Yes, I'm here for it. One of the things I appreciate about you most is your appreciation for the labor movement. That's something very close to my heart as well. So I appreciate you for bringing that up and chatting about it. So guess what, Margaret? We're moving right along. It's time to talk about your book. Are you ready?
Sure. Oh my God, this is going so quick.
I know. Welcome to my new fast show. So, so for this show, I read Dulcie's Legacy, which was Margaret's. Was this your debut novel?
No, second.
Sophomore.
Okay. Sophomore
outing. But the reason I read this one is I'm an aspiring kidlit author. So I write YA stories and mostly middle grade now, but YA and middle grade is kind of my happy spot. So I wanted to read this one because this was your venture into my category. Yeah. So the blurb is this. She knew high school would be difficult, but not like this. Dulcie, last name, Oisel?
Oisel.
I knew it would be French, is a 13-year-old girl living on Cape Breton Island, excited about the new experiences that await her in high school. Starting a Celtic club and being asked out by the cute new junior should mean that things are off to a good start. But then bizarre events begin to unfold. She sees a man wailing in the snow, another dodging a knife swipe, and the body of name Mi'kmaq? How do I pronounce it?
Mi'kmaq.
Thank you. Mi'kmaq, Indian girl, all in places where they shouldn't be. A classroom, her bedroom, the high school field. She knows she's dreaming, but what else could it be? She needs to find out what's going on, especially when it turns out the visions might point to a threat to her best friend's family. How can Dulcie satisfy the power behind the visions to make them stop when she can barely believe that they're real? So I love this. It was captivating. It's a fast read. First of all, it's a very quick read. You can almost sit down and do it in a day if you're really committed. And it's good. It's fast paced, and there's a mystery element that I really wasn't expecting. I don't know why, because I did read the blurb, but I was surprised by it. So I love the story. So tell me this: where did the idea for the story come from?
Yes, I can answer Richard's question. It's not available in hardcover. But there are also a lot of interesting words in there because what I noticed when I visited Nova Scotia in 2012, I was living in DC. I drove to Nova Scotia, saw the leaves, did the fall color, just missed the musical celebration they have there. And what I noticed was the sort of interplay of different cultures. So you have the First Nations, of course. I said the wrong thing in this book, and you'll notice it's 8 years ago, so we've all learned different nomenclature that for people then. But the Mi'kmaq First Nations had a home there, traditional home there, and a very robust presence. And they're the people who were out with fishing rights. I don't know if anyone saw that in 2020. There was a whole lot of controversy about that. Lobster fishermen and such. But so they have that. Then you have the French who came over, who were my strands of family, the French Canadians who settled there for fur trapping. And then you've got the Anglos who came up from North America. And you've got these sort of mix of cultures in the 18th century. And so it's one of those things where you kind of go, that must have been interesting. And so there's potential for conflict. And so when I was there, it was beautiful. I was looking around and I was like, it's a great setting for a story. And so I made it a contemporary sort of time travel, supernatural-ish story. Yeah, with those elements in mind.
Yeah, I thought it was great. So I haven't visited much of the East Coast of Canada other than Toronto and Ontario. But my ex lived in British Columbia. So I spent a lot of time in Alberta and BC. And yes, and I had, all I would say to the audience, if you're American or possibly from the UK and unsure or not sure how the similarities, essentially First Nations would be the same as Native Americans in Canada and treated very similarly. Similar issues there that have happened here, where Indigenous peoples have been kept from lands that were originally theirs and resources and all kinds of things. So I'm just giving that reference for folks before they read the story. So tell me this, as far as Dulcie as a character, is there some Margaret in there? And who did you pull from to create her? I like her as a character. She's spunky. So
yeah. So she's a quiet character entering high school. She's interested in music. She's studious. I mean, there's probably some there. But she's also thrust into a situation where she doesn't have like her regular anchor of her parents and her framing of life. And so she thought she was going to be doing just one big transition, and she's having to deal with all these unexpected things. And I think when I went through the writing and the drafting and the editing and publishing, I didn't realize it. But afterwards, when I looked back and I was like, oh, I guess 2014, I had just moved out to Portland. I just started being an indie author and publishing, and there are all these new things I didn't know anything about. So I think that was some definitely like psychological stuff being worked out. But on the actual writing level, it was sort of like just a classic, like, girl goes to high school, crush on a boy, but then complicating factors, and then like the supernatural element. Just I'm an Outlander fan. If anyone didn't know that is now out. So that probably came into play as well.
Yes, I can see that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, okay, I loved the book. It was well paced. It was a great mystery with a lot of heart. My note to you, which we talked a little bit about backstage, but I'm going to bring it up now, was I really think this story could work as a middle grade story. I don't think it just has to be YA, mostly because of the character's age. And like, as I was telling you, the appropriateness of the relationship, even though the boy's older, like the appropriateness of the relationship for a middle grade reader, it would work, right? Because there is, as I told you, there isn't any like Sarah J. Maas.
Right.
Story for children.
I didn't get into that until last year. No.
Oh, you did? Did you finally read it or read one of them?
Oh yeah, I read 4.
Oh, you read them all? Oh, no. I stopped. I read the first one, was like, what? I was like, nope.
No. I had 3 that a friend gave to me in like a bag of books, like she had gone through it, and I was like, why not? And then I got sucked in, and then.
Oh yeah, no, it's good stories for sure, but like for children, I don't know.
No. And I asked my sister at the time, because she had a 12-year-old. My niece was 12, and I asked her to read it and tell me what she thought about like the appropriateness, and she was like, yeah, I don't know, there's that kiss, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like a kiss? And
yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's put that aside. But yeah, definitely appropriate and all that. And especially what I've heard on your channel is that Kidlit, they're reading forward. They're trying to, see what's ahead in life, and that's more interesting to them. So
totally.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Well, and especially since it's freshman year of high school. Do you know what I mean? Because as for middle grade, that dead age is 14. So like that's the age where like publishers don't know where to put it, right? Is it YA? Is it middle grade? And so this story is really YA in the concept and everything that's happening in it. But it would not be hard to make a few small changes that it would work just as well for middle grade. But I would even say, as I said, I will recommend this to kids at the center that are into historical that are younger readers, 12 and up, because I think for them it's completely appropriate, maybe even 11 for some of those readers that are, again, reading up.
Right.
So for moms out there who might be watching us or who have younger readers, I would 100% tell you are A-okay with this book for 11 and up for sure. Maybe even a wee bit, younger if they're really reading up. Hey, Eva, good to see you. I did tell Eva we were singing, so I'm sure everybody's here would be like, when are they singing? So will you ever write again in my category? Will you ever write again in YA or middle grade, or was that kind of a thing you did and you won't revisit?
You know, I had some friends who asked about a sequel for this, and I love that Anita said you have no idea how interesting culture gets in Nova Scotia. That's great. Because I did set up like a little piece where there was a character who's a teacher in the school who might appear in another tale. And I on brushing up on this book since it's 8 years old, I realized that, and I was like, oh, well, there is sort of an if I wanted to write another book in this world. I don't have an idea for that specific one. I'm in the Remnants world at the moment, so I don't have immediate plans to, but I might. I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep hanging out in your corner, and then maybe I'll get some more kid-lit inspiration.
Yay, I love it. I've got some really good historical fiction YA stories. Ruta Sivertson has written some amazing books. Anyway, I'll give you some YA historicals if you like them. Eva, I am here for the singing. Let's see. What are you singing? We are doing a show tune. And no, we are not taking requests. I saw that question. We are not, but wait for the announcement because we will talk about that. I've got Memories Hostage on my TBR because I love the cover. I do too. So yes for all of that. Once you're old enough, your own experiences can help with your historical fiction. No, Richard said something, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about this. I'd be scared with historical fiction of getting it all very wrong. So talk to us a little bit about the research and stuff that you do to make sure that you do get it right. And I think, Richard, what she's saying here is something she wrote 8 years ago. She did get a few things wrong, right? Like they're just because of time has changed. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes. So I mean, here, laying it all bare here. Why don't we go with, I was actually called out in Memories Hostage early on, and Zarina and Richard will laugh at this. I had left in the word sidewalk at one point, and oh my God, it's called a pavement. Okay. Yes. I know that. I just, it was left in. And in Dulce's Legacy, it was a made up conflict, but it was a very real sort of tension between cultures and within a family. And so I think that is what you have to fall back on in terms of story arcs. With the Remnants books, I did, so Memories Hostage, historical mystery, sort of murder mystery with a little spy thriller in there. Dulce's Legacy, YA supernatural with like some time travel stuff. And then Remnants was really more my foray into actually diving into this happened on this day, and this affected this group of people, and this made them leave, and this was highly plausible. And that was when I started to really make sure that the things that I was planting were entirely possible to have happened. And, we're kind of educating people about history. So that's sort of my jam, and that's how I like learning history. And so that's what I got into putting into my books, and getting it wrong. I mean, no author's perfect. So I guess you just gotta do your best effort and put it out there, when you feel like it's good enough,
Well, and the thing I always say, and this would be true of you of any of my friends here, if anybody gets in something where you're in a spot or you're in a publicity pickle, my inbox is always open. And I'm happy to help you navigate that. I used to get paid really well for that. So I will help you do that for free. If that ever happens. But usually the best is exactly what you did, right? Which is acknowledge that times have changed, and the terminology has changed, and you want to update and re-release the book with that terminology in mind. So that's the best way to handle it, and say you didn't mean harm. Zarina says, one of the earliest historical fiction books I read was called The Hunger, the Diary of a Quack. It was about the Irish potato famine, the late 1800s. Was really little when I read it. Interesting. It was part of this My Story historical fiction series. That's really cool. Eva says, I have a work in progress that covers a span of time beginning in the 1950s. I don't think it's historical as the main genre, but I think historical fiction elements exist due to the setting eras. So how do you define historical fiction for yourself? For you, is there like a time period that you're like, if I'm writing before this, it's historical fiction no matter what? Or is it based on the content?
Yeah, it's date based, and like it's this Richard's question. I have based my definition on the Historical Novel Society, which has defined it as 50 years because 50 years prior to present day, because it tilts people more into the mode of research rather than memory, because memory is a fickle mistress. If if you want to go down that road, and can be quite warped. Whereas research, I feel like has a more rigorous reputation. You have to have multiple sources. You have to have someone else providing the information that is reputable. And so it just gives more of a reputation of accuracy, really. And if you're going to be writing something from memory, I think it's more fiction memoir. And then you get into creative memoir, and then that's a whole new thing that I'm just not. I am not very interested in writing about time periods that we've just come from, because it's too close for me. I can't get much perspective on it. And I feel like the further away I go, the better I can pull out themes that match threads in contemporary society, but we can see them better instead of being like, oh, the 80s. I remember the 80s. That was all about jamming the holograms, So, yeah.
I love that you get that reference. IIRC, a book set in the 1980s, won the Goodreads Choice Award for historical fiction. I was not amused. Richard, I would not have been amused either.
I know.
Opposite of amused. Okay, I'm going to put some of these questions in our starred section, because we are rolling like a river right on to writer's block and AuthorTube. So you and I had a heart-to-heart. I feel like it was back in November. I feel like it was when you were coming on for NaNoWriMo, and we were backstage, and you and I kind of had the confession to each other, like, yeah, I can't write right now. And you were like, yeah, I can't either. and we hadn't really, I think, admitted it to anybody else. So talk to me a little bit about what 2021 was like for you as far as being blocked, and how you think you worked yourself out of it.
Yeah, and Colin was just answering this question recently, in the other side. So I would say I didn't have this for the entirety of 2021. I had this sort of come and go, comes around, goes around type of wave of block. And basically it's I was in a good pattern. I was in a have a book, do a nano draft, edit the first book, publish the first book, put it out, mark it, and then do the next draft during nano. And sort of like you're on a cycle where you're doing 2 or 3 projects and cycling them in at different phases. And then 2017, 2018, that started to break down. So I published my last book in 2019, which is Stormrack and Spindrift, the third of the Remnant series. And I put it out, and I was working at a bookstore, and the bookstore closed. And that winter I was applying to jobs, and I wasn't getting any callbacks, no interviews. And it was like I'd done service jobs and was trying to get back into professional jobs, because I felt like I needed to put my skills to work for the climate crisis, and was just getting no feedback. And so it was one of those, okay, the job is gone and the bookstore community is gone, and oh wait, now we're in a pandemic. So it was like a triple threat of why don't you consider your life right now? And it wasn't even my Saturn return. So oh my God. So 2020 was actually the one where I was kind of sitting back, questioning life choices. I often say Bean looks like he's looking at me. This is my cat. He looks like he's looking at me like he's questioning his life choices. Like, what brought me here to live with this lady, right? Why? What did I do? And I feel like 2020 in my writing life was a lot like that, because I felt like, okay, well, I'll pivot to this, and this is not working. So I'll pivot to this, and this is not working. Okay, and you keep going around in a prism trying to find something that will move you forward. And if that's not writing for your mental health, you need to find something that will move you forward and make you feel like you're making progress, like you are hitting goals.
On something, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's not writing, just something. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my 2020. What was your 2021? Do you know what triggered it or started it?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think mine was slow roll depression. You know what I mean? I mean, I think because I have not, we were just talking about this in March, I will have not left my bubble in 2 years, right? Like, and I mean, legitimately have not seen anybody other than doctors, my dentists and like eye doctors, other doctors, my family, immediate only, no extended. And one friend from 12 feet. Like, and that was honestly more hard than not. Like, it did more. It was almost like it was better not doing that than having it, because I couldn't hold the baby that she had just had, which really killed me. So no, I think it was depression. And then I'll be honest, I needed AuthorTube for the community. The toxic part was not the community so much as just I was toxic with it, right? So I'm a competitive person for anyone who's just meeting me. Hi, nice to meet you. And it was really, really hard to watch everybody else writing and able to work when all this other stuff was going on. I just couldn't focus on anything, you know? And the only thing I could focus on was this community. That was it. That was about all I could, and cheering other people on, because I just didn't have it for myself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I don't even really know what it was that kicked me out of mine. I think it was partially Eva, Richard, a few people that have kind of behind the scenes pushed me to be like, are you writing? Are you writing? Are you writing? And then you kind of do start writing, doing the thing. And lots of flash fiction. So, yeah, all of that. Oh, I got way behind in comments. We're going to catch up on a few. So let me ask you a little bit about your content on your channel. So you have kind of deliberately done the BookTube, AuthorTube straddle, as I call it. Can you tell folks why you decided to do that and how it's working out for you?
Well, okay, so speaking of pivots, and JD is here, so I just wanted to say,
JD. Yeah.
Something by. Yeah, so speaking of pivots, I put the 5 books out as an indie author, thought I was doing like my things of publishing with a new trick each time and trying to learn. And I've since seen Shannon, ST Houston, like rocking it, going, what was I doing when I put my books out? She's doing all the things. So after the year and a half of like, what am I doing? I was like, okay, well, let's try a different community. Let's try a different like platform, and Twitter's not working, Facebook, Instagram, like not my thing. So let's try YouTube. And when I started looking at numbers or themes or what I could do and what would match, and you know, there's lots of graph paper with markers that will attest to that like process. I came on YouTube and I thought, BookTube. Oh, people are reading on BookTube. I can do that. And so I figured a little strategy, not a marketing person, but figured out a little like way to read books and like be considered a reader and sit alongside people, so that I could also say, and here are my books if you like this type of thing. And I was very wary at first of like, how am I going to put my books forward to people and not be seen as like, I mean, I'm sorry, Richard, but buy my books. You know, I didn't want to be that person. And so I've tried to work in a little bit, like a sprinkling, if you will, of the AuthorTube stuff. I didn't know there was AuthorTube when I started. I didn't. Really? No. Yeah. I mean, that's my research, right? I knew there were big channels that were authors, but I didn't. I thought you had to already have 100,000 followers. I didn't get it when I started. So I launched into the book community on YouTube and figured I would just be able to, I don't know, sneak in that way and talk to other readers. And I do like being an AuthorTube. I like being included in the things. There's great people here. As other people have pointed out, there's also drama and toxic stuff every once in a while. Sure. And, you know, so that's why I think it's going to be like a corner of mine and not the whole thing, because I do like TBRs. I do like wrap-ups. I do like reviews. I just did a video about ratings and reviews from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, and talked a little bit about like when you're straddling those two communities, how do you review books? Like, how do you have your reviewer hat on from a reader and have your author hat on from like a peer reader review? Like, it can get very messy. And so I did it live. I do all my book tags live, but I got it out there in a word vomit form and then sorted my thoughts out in the comments. So if you want to check that out, that was an interesting discussion to think through.
Yeah, I want to check that out. I have a comment on this, but first I want to say, Eva, text me those links. So Hannah said that she feels you on that, that started on BookTube as well. So here's what I find so fascinating about this. So from a marketing perspective, or like as a business person, BookTube is about selling books. I mean, I don't think booktubers like to think of themselves as that, but they really are influencers who are essentially telling their following, I liked this or didn't like this, you should buy this or not buy this, right? Whether they're doing links or whatever or not, essentially, when I'm at least going on BookTube, that's what I'm looking for. Like, hey, there's this book I'm thinking about buying. Let's see what so-and-so thinks about it, right? To decide. So I think it's so interesting for AuthorTubers, who most of whom I find are so averse to being in that position for themselves, to be in both. I'm wondering if being that BookTube side has helped you be more comfortable with the marketing your own stuff side, because you're essentially selling other people's stuff all the time. Can you not just apply that to your own?
I mean, marketing magic, right? Like do what you tell others to do. Yes. I mean, you get into an interesting point where you're trying to balance different needs of being objective and supporting friends and being a reviewer. I asked Denny Bryce about this on my interview with her, and she's an author and she's also a reviewer for NPR. And it was kind of like, right. So you basically say, okay, here's my line. Here are the people I won't review because they're too close to my own stuff, and like it'll get into gray territory, and that's fine. So I think if you're going to be in both, you just find where you're comfortable, and that's your place. Yeah.
Interesting. Eva says, a channel recommended to me by YouTube last night is the Unwanted Book Club. A few videos about AuthorTube specifically I hadn't seen or heard. Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So I tried.
Don't put this comment.
I absolutely did. Just because I saw it, I was like, I'm absolutely going to put that one up. So Morgan says, I tried BookTube many moons ago, fell off. So technically I started BookTube too, just didn't stay on very well. So I think I find it fascinating because, like I said, I think there's a fine line between the influencer and then being the creator. And so I think that works really well to be able to do both. And I think at some point it's going to pay off for you, right? Where some of the folks that are showing up for BookTube, they trust I trust what you say. I mean, these books I've never heard of, half of them, I'm like, oh, okay, well, if Margaret liked it, I'm going to give it a go. The same thing is true of your own, right? At some point we're going to go, well, her books can't be bad because she reviews all these other books, so I should check it out and see what it's about, right? So how can folks on AuthorTube support you and your art before you're monetized?
Good question, marketing guru. Before you're monetized. So,
well, there's a link in the description box below to your Patreon.
Yes, Patreon. I send bookish postcards. I have a book club. And I'm going to be, this was my announcement, I was teasing on Instagram, is I'm going to be starting the writer tier. So for Authortubers, there's going to be a writer tier with like a little mastermind group once a month. So I feel like I have skills to offer there, and I'm not going to be shy about it. Dang it. So yeah, so that's going to be rolling out pretty soon. How can people on AuthorTube support me? Sorry if I'm repeating.
All of the books that we're discussing today, all 5 are linked in the description box below, and you could buy them.
You can buy the books. You could request for your library to carry them as well. Yeah. One of the things I said in a recent conversation with someone was that sometimes we're so focused as small booktubers on the monetization, or like the little prizes that are set along the way in social media, which is not supposed to be a monetized space. It's supposed to be a marketing space where you put out stuff for free so that people will buy the books. So taking a step back and being like, okay, I'm after people reading the books. That is the ultimate goal, right? Mm-hmm. Because I care about these pieces of history. I care about these stories of marginalized populations. I want people to read them and feel the empathy and feel the curiosity to explore more of those pockets of history. Let's start there. Yeah. So
no, I love that. I think there's a lot of potential. You know what I mean? So I think the most of you, I love you to pieces, and I want folks to support one another. And you've just crossed the 500 threshold, so we'll be getting you monetized in no time. But until then, we need to figure out ways to support your art. And I want to encourage people to follow on Patreon, buy the books. Which way makes you more money? Are you better if they buy ebooks or paperbacks?
Funny you should ask about this. We were just talking about.
I know we were.
I think for most people, ebooks are great, and whatever format you need. We've had a lot of discussions. Anita will know discussions about Smashwords and Draft to Digital over on Go Indie Now. I'm on Smashwords. I'm not on Draft to Digital. So if you're on Smashwords, if you're like that 0.29 part of the population, that is, go ahead, go there. But otherwise, ask me how to get a shopping cart on my freaking channel, because that's what I need help with.
We'll work on that. We'll get that figured out.
Yeah.
So what has been the hardest part for you about building your author platform?
Author platform, the hardest part. I could say the cycle of, I think it was Richard earlier asked about imposter syndrome. You know how you go,
Adam. I have to start here. I'll pull up the question for you.
I'm just focusing on the outputs. I'm just focusing on what I can do rather than how many other people are going to do a thing, right? Because you can't control that. And so there's that lesson that you always have to keep learning. But my teaching aid here is it's backwards. I hope it's not backwards for the internet.
No, it's not. It's not.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we were talking about writer's block, and I was thinking there's this whole thing that happened during the pandemic about confusing worthiness with like productivity and numbers and measurable goals. And right now, it'll happen again. It's a cycle. But right now, I feel like I'm in the pocket where I can value the support that I give others, and I can value the positivity that I provide on my channel and my platform, and hang on to that as like the value that I'm providing, and not worry so much about how many books I'm selling or all the stuff that I didn't do yet on my website, or, you know, the income situation, we'll just say. But that should remain unconnected from the worthiness. And that's just the thing that I have to keep remembering along with everyone else.
Yeah. I'm going to get through some of the questions because we have some good ones up here that I'm going to throw a couple of them up before we move on, because once we get through this section, Margaret, what are we doing?
Singing.
We're singing a song. Okay. So which of your books should folks read first?
Okay, so if you are a mystery person looking for something for a March Mystery Madness, you should pick up Memories Hostage, because that is the closest to a whodunit. If you are a YA lover who likes like a little angst, a little teenage drama, you should go for Dulcie's Legacy. And if you're someone who wants something like meaty and drama and like social history writ large, that is the Remnant series, and you would start with The Keening. Or if you picked up Grasping Root first because of the cover, you can jump in there too. I designed them to stand alone. You'll just be spoiled a little if you go backwards, because you'll know where the family ended.
Cool. Zarina asks, what's your favorite time period to write?
So I chose 1820s to start because it was a little known. It was lesser known in terms of writing. I started with 1880s because that's much more well known, and it's very fun, and the costumes are to die for. But 19th century, sucker right here.
That's it. All right. How about this one? How many books does Margaret have available to purchase? 5. And they are all listed in the description box below. And I appreciate if you use them because they are affiliates, and so they help me as well. Just Eva says, I remember you talking about trying to get new readers for books that aren't new releases in another live. Have you considered a relaunch with varied covers and updates? Take it away.
What a great suggestion, Eva. Shannon has a similar suggestion. Yes. So I am in process of making a box set, because that was like an easy win that Shannon suggested, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that, and then gotten like a trap of being able to talk to the people at Kindle for like a week, for like 4 weeks now. So that is in the works. A relaunch of Dulcie's Legacy would also be quite timely, because I've learned a lot about language and some of that stuff, so that would be good, and I can also put it into different categories as Barrett was suggesting. So yeah, and I'm also hopefully gonna be soon up on the Courtney Project's channel for a cover redo. So she's been offering cover critiques, and Shannon was up a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So I sent mine in, and hopefully she'll give a critique, and then I can like go off and get some new covers, because hey, it's time.
This energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Grayson.
We've got 3 more quick questions we're going to get through, and then it's singing time. Are you ready? Get those vocals. Okay. Adam Stevenson says, question, what is your opinion on review dumping on YouTube? I saw a video or two, I guess. I saw a video where 2, I guess, trad pub writers tore a famous AuthorTubers work to pieces for over 2 hours. Didn't watch the full thing, but thought, why? I have a thought about this when you answer.
Well, I'm not sure what review dumping is. Do you know what Adam means?
Yeah, so I'm not going to name check a channel, but there is a channel that their whole channel is what I'm going to call mean reviews, and they specifically target AuthorTubers.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they specifically go find AuthorTubers books and review them, and they're usually like rip them to shreds. They don't follow all their own advice. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Right.
So
right.
what are your feels on that? Or do you have feels on that?
That they are trying to use a marketing machine to get rich quick off someone else's blood, sweat, and tears, and not to be respected. I think also review dumping will get at the process or the trend of someone with a big following telling people to badly review something, and that's kind of like, yeah, that's the knee-jerk reaction of cancel culture. That is the bad part of it. That's not working the way it should for people who are punching up. So sorry, that was a lot of jargon. If you know, you know, but yeah, that's not cool. Not cool.
Yeah, my only thing that I'd say on this is the cynical part of me knows that what they're doing is using SEO to their advantage, and what works really well with the algorithm is angry videos, reaction videos where there are lots and lots of clicks, whether it's dislikes or likes, doesn't really matter.
Yep.
If you talk about someone, the other thing is you're punching up, which it's the only way you should punch. However, if you're punching up just to grow, then like, I don't know, get a life, really. And again, when my books come out, I 100% hope this channel rips me to shreds. Like I'm counting on it. I'm going to share it on my community tab and be like, everyone go support this person and thank them for all the help they've done for me today. So when is book number 6 coming?
Thanks, Eva. Thanks.
I know, right? She's got you clutch. She does it to me too, though. So to be fair, like, how's the book coming? I'm like, ooh.
I wanted something to come out in 2021. That didn't happen. Like, one of the pivots was trying to query. That didn't happen. So at this point, I'm writing a novella, and I've got a novel that's sitting. So we're mid-process on both, and I can't really tell you. I don't have an answer for that one.
That's okay. Just put you on the spot. Hannah has a question. Which of your books is most literary fictiony? I'd love to vlog review one.
Oh, literary fiction? Probably The Keening.
Interesting.
The Keening, yes.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, there's a whole chat about I just hate channels don't just stop at reviewing the book. They talk about how bad the author and attack them. That's my issue with it, 100%. If people hate your book, that means it had an impact.
Yeah. Can I revise my answer though, actually? So for Hannah, like, The Keening is the beginning of the series. And like I said, I designed them as standalones, but they're related. So if you're running on the premise that an author gets better as their work grows, my latest work is Stormrock and Spindrift, and that's probably the most literary, but yeah, so that's my raggedy answer.
No, that's good. That was a good one. So just to finish this off, what's been the hardest part about building the platform?
Oh, I thought you asked me that.
The hardest one I did already? Oh, okay. Sorry. Who's your dream collaboration and why is it me?
It is. It always is. I mean, we have the announcement coming, but I mean, I think we should start a company. I mean, like.
Oh, we should.
Yeah.
I could work with you very well.
Yeah.
So the one thing I was going to circle back to on the writer's block thing, that I just wanted to say to some folks that I saw some comments that I had starred that I'm just now getting out of. But I did want to say, give yourselves grace. That was the thing I figured out for myself, was to not be so hard on myself and be like, we all did just go through like something traumatic together, like all at the same time, which is very odd. And we should just be better to ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, we're only competing with ourselves in theory. So that's that.
Right.
Well, Margaret, we have some live chat questions that we're going to get to later.
What am I doing? What am I doing, Barrett? I'm drinking water. Minding my business.
Getting ready to drink some water and mind our own business, except I think it's time.
I think it's time.
Pop it
up.
I think we should do it. Okay, folks, we are going to sing for you because this is something we do now.
Ready?
I was born ready. Turning comments off so I can't see what they say about us while we're singing.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me make sure. Are we in the right layout? Yes.
I think yes.
And then if we're ready to go, I'll hit the play and come back to the layout.
I'm
Ready?
ready when you are.
Every single day I walk down the street, I hear people say, baby, so sweet. Ever since puberty, everybody stares at me. Boys, girls, I can't help it, baby. So be kind, don't lose your mind. Just remember that I'm your baby. Take me for what I am, who I was meant to be. And if you give a damn, take me, baby, believe me. Take me, baby, or leave me.
A tiger in a cage can never see the sun. This diva needs her stage. Baby, let's have fun. You are the one I choose. Folks would kill to fill your shoes. You'll love the limelight too now, baby. So be mine and don't waste my time crying. Oh, honey bear, are you still my baby? Take me for what I am, who I was meant to be. And if you give a damn, believe me.
No way can I be what I'm not. But hey, don't you want your girl hot? Don't fight, don't lose your head. 'Cause every night, who's in your bed? Who's in your bed? Kiss Pookie.
It won't work. I look before I leap. I love margins and discipline. I make lists in my sleep, baby. So what is my sin? I never quit. I follow through. I hate mess, but I love you. What to do with my impromptu baby? So be wise, cause this girl satisfies. You got a prize, so don't compromise. You're one lucky baby. Take me for what I am.
Control freak.
Who I was meant to be.
A snob yet ever attentive.
And if you give a
and ever retentive. That's it.
The straw that breaks my back, I quit. Unless you take it back. Then what about them? Can't live without them or without them. Take me for what I am, who I was meant to be. And if you give a damn, you better take me, or leave me.
Take me, leave me.
Take me, baby. Leave me. Yes, I'm leaving.
I'm gone.
Boom. So what is our announcement, Margaret?
Yes. We're going to be starting a monthly karaoke stream together.
Okay, let's go see what they said about us.
And I've been working on it for about a week.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry,
Stop,
kid.
Grammarly, stop.
Okay, let's try to go back. Where did we start? Okay, they want to come to the company picnics. Sorry, we're going to catch up in your comments, and then we're going to get into our questions. Company picnics, you're invited, no problems. For your information, it's not anyone in this community, so you can also sleep. Oh, okay, they were talking about something else. Barmar Publishing. Look at that. Just followed you on Amazon. Look at that. Okay, here we go. Singing. Yes, we did Rent. Muting now. Thank you, Richard. Rent, of course we did, because we're that age. So this was it for us.
Oh,
Do guests now have to sing on this show? Yes, you do, Richard. You have to sing. No, you don't have to sing. We are no, we're not making guests sing, just Margaret, because we're going to do the karaoke show together. So if you guys would be interested, let us know, because we're thinking of doing a monthly karaoke show on each other's channels back and forth, monthly, for people to come and sing with us, so we could do all of the things. Oh, look how nice they were. Check is in the mail, Zarina. Check is in the mail. Okay, we're way too behind on these comments. I'm just gonna get
any song with anal retentive has my vote for JD.
Oh, but wasn't that so fitting though? Like, real talk, like, just I am anal retentive and controlling and all of those things. So we really cast ourselves well.
we love, yes.
Right. So yes, all the karaoke things happening. Thank you for the love, guys. We had a lot of fun practicing this together beforehand. Yes. So, all right, let me get to my last few questions, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. So, is there a craft book or a piece of advice that you swear by? And if so, what is it?
Craft book. I really liked self-editing for writers.
Yes.
Rennie Brown and I never remember the second author.
I have it.
Yeah, self-editing for fiction. Dave, yes, that one. That one was really, really helpful when I started editing my own work.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I have it right there, but I've never heard of it. How extensively do you outline, if you outline at all?
1 page. Even with Libby Hawker's new book, Take Off Your Pants, which had a very extensive process, still 1 page. It's yeah, I've showed before.
You're gonna teach me this, the 1 page thing.
Yeah, tiny writing, but 1 page.
Okay, wowza! You got to teach me that. I need that in my life. What is your writing kryptonite?
Writing kryptonite. Exercise.
Like you do the exercise, or like you're. Oh, I get it. You mean like doing the exercise makes you stop the writing?
Yeah, because they're both like early morning, set the day up right things, and so I only do one or the other.
This is the one thing Margaret and I do not have in common. Okay. So what does literary success look like to you?
Literary success. That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. Literary success means publishing books that I think are worthy of reading and discussing them with people who enjoy the topics that I'm delving into.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I think that's a good. Oh, Devin says, I get ideas from exercise. You guys are going to make me start doing this, and I have feelings about it. I don't even. Why are you doing this to me, Devin?
But Devin, then how do you write them down?
Devin, I thought we were friends. Oh, thank you, Heather. It's so good to see you.
Yay!
All right, so we're going to shift into the last segment, which is all about your word. So this was the one thing you were kind of concerned about, which I think is funny because this is like the easiest question I think I gave you. So if we're talking about your word for 2022, what is it and why?
Yes. So I waffled and had several sort of floating, and I keep cycling through them. And then last night when I had to decide, I just finished Blood Like Magic. So all the thing about decision paralysis was pretty real for this question. But no, I'm going to go with the one that I heard Morgan mention, which is engage, because it'll also help people remember how to pronounce my name. Captain Picard, what does he say? Engage.
I like engage.
For me, that means instead of sitting back and trying to be safe and trying not to be criticized, engage means that I'm out there talking to people, giving my real opinions, making mistakes, and then moving forward with them. So that is the new brand for 2020 and beyond.
Yeah, I'm Anita. Agree 100%. It's a tool of the devil. No, Devin said, I'm just teasing. Obviously, I'm not averse to exercising, but Devin said on a small notepad, exercise saved my life. I think it's going to save mine too, Devin. I have to drop some LBs that I gained on these stupid steroids. So is there anything we can, sorry.
JC gave a hint too. Text the ideas to yourself on your phone as you exercise. That would be good.
Oh, that is good.
It'll ruin my rate then, which I'm already obsessed with because
you're a runner, right? Like you run.
No, I walk.
Oh, okay. So we could still be friends then. I walk. Or is there like a side cart you can pull me next to you down the? Yeah.
A little rider.
Yeah.
Flying rider. I can't remember the name of it.
Yes, I don't know. It's just like side cart, but I don't think that's it either.
Red flyer, radio flyer.
Oh, the radio flyer. Yes. Oh. You know what's funny? I have a whole. This is a total different subject, not important. I had a whole class that I used to do for people about a radio flyer, about your little red wagon and what you can and can't put in your little red wagon. You used to do it for candidates before they'd run, just reminding them of like how to prioritize and. Yeah. So anyway, if anyone needs help prioritizing your communication strategy, I have a wonderful red flyer. No, that isn't right. Radio flyer red wagon.
There you go.
Workshop for you. Yes.
Harder, easier or harder than saying REO Speedwagon?
You missed the song, Jenna. You're lost. Good to see you. We love you. This has been lovely, Margaret. I'm going to give you a chance to do an outro. We have reached the end. I'm going to encourage everyone one more time to get out there and buy those books. And do me one more favor. If you get the book, please do a review on Amazon or Goodreads or your preferred review place of choice. It makes a big difference. And I just want to encourage you, if you're going to go ahead and buy the book, please do me a favor and review it as well. Margaret, I'm giving you full screen. Tell everybody how wonderful you are.
Thank you, Barrett. This has been wonderful. I am verklempt a little bit that you can't see, but here we go. I'm Margaret Pinard. Thank you for coming by. I have a channel on YouTube I'd love to see you subscribe to. I've got 5 historical fiction related books out there that I would love to see you read and review, as Barrett said. I read and post reviews of my own of books you've never heard of. So if you want new recommendations, see me there. I've got a book club and I send bookish postcards on a Patreon. So you can follow me there for free or sign up for benefits. I am a starter of readathons. If you want to join in, if you're a joiner, I did the Black AuthorTuber readathon this month to help support Black authors with books on YouTube. And I will be doing May of the Moderns this year for 1901 to 1945. So if anyone likes those books, please tell me. I want help. And that is hard to say. I want help. And I'm also a Mighty Blazer. Yay! So A Mighty Blaze, I love supporting them. They're another author show collective that like puts shows on to bring books to people and highlight important issues. So go Blaze.
Yes, and Eva's comment is 100% mine. That's why I fell in love with Margaret when I met her. So glad you're in the community, Margaret. Love your vibe. I'll post pics of the haul. I said the same thing to Margaret. I said, there's a friend of mine from high school that her name was Margaret. And I mean, they could not be more alike. And it's like that person has just reappeared in my life and it's you. So I love you to bits. I cannot wait to bring you all our karaoke show. We're going to be caucusing on titles. So stay close and we'll keep you posted. But thank you all so much. Stay healthy and well, and we'll see you later. Bye.